From Plastic Millennium, a chapbook of geopolitical poems, The Secrecy Cycle. 1. Iran, 1953. Mohammad Mossadeq almost gave the British a heart attack when he decided he wanted his own oil, so MI6 and the Agency 2 decided to be his foil. 2. Washington, 1953. Democracy's gone from the state of Iran, and this is cable to Dwight. He sits by himself in the clear sunlight and finishes toast and coffee. 3. Iraq, 1962. The Cold War isn't a bore when you're one of its participants. Furthermore, young Saddam thinks it's just grand that he can lend a hand to what he calls revolution. 4. Iraq, 1963. Saddam, Saddam, your gun goes blam. You are really, really tough. You run around, then hide underground while the station chief slips you cash. 5. Iraq, 1968 onwards. Well done, you've won. You are now on top. Isn't it just a thrill? You can smoke cigars and put generals behind bars and study lists of whom to kill. 6. Iran, 1979. And then in a flash, the Shah is gone. The situation's a mess. The diplomats knew trouble did brew, but they didn't see the rest. 7. Washington, Tehran, 1980. Jimmy Carter tries to be firm, but Ronnie Reagan secretly confirms that the plan just ain't going to work. So Jimmy is gone and Ronnie is prez and decides the Soviet U under an Afghan sky really, truly should die. 8. The West, Baghdad, 1980s. It's the 1980s, boom markets and ladies. The decade is really great. So hip Donnie Rummy gets a feeling that's funny and trips all the way to Baghdad. And then late at night, outwaits Saddam as the plane taxis in over the black tarmac. 9. Iran, Iraq, 1980 to 1988. Bang, bang, it's war on the desert floor. The Iranians march their poor. But the Iraqi guns are just too fast and there's lots and lots of gore. 10. Afghanistan, 1979 to 1989. Bang, bang, more war, and this one's really scary. The Soviets and CIA want to prove that neither one is a fairy. 11. Saudi Arabia, 1980s. Meanwhile, back at the Harem Ranch, a gangly kid with a b-ball build decides to apprentice just outside Kabul. 12. Afghanistan, 1986. Welp, there goes another Rusky chopper hit true by a brand new stinger. The tough Taliban don't admire American men, but they like what their weapons can do. 13. Afghanistan, 1987. Meanwhile, back at the training camp, the gangly kid is learning the ropes while his agency handler shows him some notes, which the kid quietly absorbs. 14. Iraq, 1990. Saddam develops a new plan, and it involves scads of oil, so he readies his tanks and preemptive prayer thanks and counts his chickens at Betty. 15. Iraq, Kuwait, 1990. April Glaspie wasn't nasty. In fact, she was downright nice. Tariq Aziz said, "Can we invade it, please?" And April said, "You can." 16. Washington, London, Paris, Brussels, Berlin, Rome, Ottawa, 1990. George Herbert Walker Bush is truly enraged that an ally, a friend, would do such a thing. So he goes on a journey to London, Paris, Brussels, Ottawa, Berlin, and Rome and says, "Hitler was bad and made all of us sad, but this one will overcharge oil." And the leaders nod and agree to stand strong, and George, glad, jets back home. 17. Iraq, Kuwait, 1991. Bang, bang, it's war, and this one's totally awesome. It's not just some spooks and their shaggy proxies. It's got real soldiers, real fighters, real tanks. This is a battle with moxie. The guidance systems get a locked tone and zero tight on targets, and then their ordnance hellfires in, and a bunker totally shatters. All around the world, everyone's excited, and all folk are in bliss. This includes TV crews and loads of arms manufacturers. 11. Saudi Arabia, 1991. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, the gangly kid notices an uncouth Marine in the hall talking loud and on Mummy's fine Persian tracking desert mud. 19. Iraq no-fly zone, 1990s. Peace, peace. Not quite. The war from the air for a decade continues apace. 20. Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, 1990s. Meanwhile, back at the training camp, the gangly kid's moody and pissed. 21. North Africa, 1998 to 2000. Bang in Kenya, bang in Tanzania, bang on the hull of a ship. Something's gone wrong and there are nasty bombs that are killing soldiers in dips. 22. Afghanistan, 1998. Clinton tries a cruise to do the gangly kid in, but Hard Willie doesn't know how to fight and the kid's not even bruised. 23. The world, 2000. Wow, the millennium's here and it's really quite the party. Pretty young folk are on the street kissing all their partners. 24. Washington, Crawford, 2000. George II knows what to do. He organizes the vote, then relaxes in a fishing boat. Who knows? Something might just happen. 25. New York, Washington, Pennsylvania, 2001. In the crystal sky on a sunny dawn there is an aeroplane. It looks so nice as the blue is sliced, but its pilots are insane.